chocolate. Mama, can I have some more chocolate?
From silence to sight, can a mother's awakening begin in darkness? A journey of survival, spiritual rebirth, and unbreakable love. Welcome to the Power of One Voice with your host, Rare Soul. What happens when a little girl becomes a caretaker before she ever gets to be a child? How does a woman survive when love turns to violence and no one believes her pain? What do you hold onto when surgeries, pills, and silence numb your entire soul? And what does it take for someone to fight back, not just for survival, but for awakening? Today's guest lived through all of this and more, and somehow she found her way into the light. This isn't just a story of pain, this is a story of rebirth. So let's begin. So, May, what was it like growing up the third of 11 children in a home with undocumented parents?
I can say that my memories go back to when I was 4, and it just seemed like a good time, but it was just like my mom was always gone to the hospital having a baby. It was one after another, one after another. And, I cried a lot because I missed her. And, as I got older, I helped her do chores. I don't know. I was always a domestic type person. So, I did help her do, take care of the babies, do all that stuff, diapers, bottles, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I became, my oldest sister. There was one that died in between me and my oldest sister. My oldest sister was kind of, she got married very young and left. So then it was left to me.
Okay.
So, and then my mom had a baby when I was 16. So I just kind of took over her. Everyone thought it was my baby, but she wasn't. And then I went through a period, I'm a different, I have a lot of ethnicities in me. And so I went to a predominantly white high school where the guys didn't really want to date me. So I went through that period. Then I went through, I ran off and had an abortion as a teenager. And then I got married and at 18 and started having babies of my own. I didn't realize really what love was. I just, you have an immature brain, and I didn't really have any guidance. I guess I would say no guidance.
Let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
Did you feel like you ever got to be just a kid, or were you always expected to help?
I think in my early years, the very early years, like maybe under 6, maybe so. But after that, there were so many kids coming up. It was just like always, kids. So probably not.
Okay. What responsibilities shaped your identity early on?
Responsibilities that shaped my identity. I would say I became a little strong, but not like I am now, just because of, helping with all the chores. And, my mom was there, but I still did things, played with the kids, whatever. It was just like, it was a natural thing to just, with a big family, clean, cook, take care of the children, being one of the oldest,
So it never felt unnormal?
No, not at that time.
Okay. What led you to get married so young, and what did you hope marriage would bring you?
Well, I think I was looking for a way to get out of my home. I thought maybe there was something else, I thought that was what you were supposed to do. Just get married and, I never had any guidance as far as going to college or anything like that. It was just like, get married, okay, have babies. Get married, have babies, that's your life. Take care of your husband.
Right.
And I thought he loved me, but I know now it was not love. And I was not in love with him either. But I did have 4 beautiful babies, and those are my life.
Okay. So when did you realize that the man you married wasn't safe?
Oh, wow. Probably maybe a couple of years into it. And then, he was what you call a womanizer. Everyone was trying to tell me he was with other women, but I never believed it. He always had an excuse and all this. And then it was more of a mental abuse. My mind was, and no one knew this but me. I didn't tell my family, I didn't tell anyone. I just lived with it by myself.
Why? Why'd you choose to live with it by yourself?
I think I was scared. And I think I had a young mind, and it was, I like to be around young girls because I like to tell them to be strong. Because if somebody would have told me, you know, if I would have had someone to tell me don't, it could have been different. But I know I had to go through that journey to get here.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah.
Okay. What? Why did you stay through all of the abuse, and what was your greatest fear if you left?
My greatest fear if I left was that he would take my kids because at that time I didn't have a job. He was working, I wasn't. So he said I would never get my kids. He threatened over and over and over. And my kids were my life. I was 100% mom, 110, 200% mom. That was my life that I wanted, was my babies. Once I had my first baby, I changed. I became mom. And I said no one was going to take that from me because that's mine.
Right.
So, and then he also threatened. I don't know if I can say this or not. I don't know, but I was. Am I allowed to say certain things or?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So he threatened to kill me, chop me up. No one would ever find me,
Okay.
and I believed it. So I was always living in fear every day. When he came home from work, it was just like, okay, everything's got to be right, so it won't be fearful. And um, so I felt like I had everything right. But he worked a couple of part-time jobs, he said, but I found out sure later that he was just messing around with the women. And so for me, it was like, okay, I got to get this together. And he told me I needed to be fixed. And then I had some surgeries, and I had quite a bit of surgeries actually, but I'm really good now. And I got hooked on pain pills.
So
And
how did your physical health play a role in your emotional shutdown?
um, I became numb because the pills made me numb. So I really had no emotion.
Okay.
I just was living every day, get up, go to bed, get up, go to bed. And my kids were getting older. I stayed and stayed. I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know who to tell or what to do. I was just there by myself. I did end up going to psychiatrists, counselors, all that stuff. And, I've probably been to like 20 years of counseling, but I will tell you that not just one helped me, but just all together, everything that I learned. I went to group counseling, all that stuff. So all of that together probably helped me, but it took 20 years.
Yeah.
So it was a slow process, and every day it was a struggle.
So can we talk a little bit about your experience with the prescription medication and the addiction? Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was on everything there was in a pill form, morphine, oxy, lori, and it wasn't a small amount. It was 10 it was the highest milligrams, and I was up to at least 10 pills a day. And my body was totally numb. Like I didn't have any feelings. It was just, like I said, get up, take care of what I needed to take care of, go to bed, get up again, do the same thing. And I didn't even know what day it was.
So taking that much medication, did it take a toll on like your kidneys or your liver or any other health problems?
Luckily for me, it did not. I
Okay.
feel very blessed about that. So, no, that didn't do anything to my insides. Like right now, I'm very healthy. And then my kids grew up. They started leaving, you know. Um, I had made this person leave, locked the doors, didn't let him in. He kept coming back. It was like that for a few years, off and on, and separate bedrooms. And I said, okay, because I have an open heart. I'm a really kind person. You know, I still am. He didn't make me a hard person at all. So I still have faith in people. And
So, what brought you to the point of attempting to take your life?
I got tired of it, and I was on antidepressants, I was on anxiety, I was on all these pills, the pain pills, all that. I just said, I'm not going to do it no more. And so one day I just didn't take any of them. I just said, I'm not taking them no more. I just told myself no more. And I laid in my bed, and then it was probably, I talked to my kids every day, but they actually found me about 3 days later, and I was really, really like dehydrated, and just my body was shutting down. And so they called in when that happened. There was a doctor. He was a chiropractor, but he did the IV thing to pump up your body, and get you back. And so he came 2 days in a row, and it was 10-hour IVs. He said that I was really bad, and if he wouldn't have came when he did, I would have been gone. And so it was like, I guess it was meant to be, and I thank God every day for that, because I thought I wanted to leave, but really I didn't. I see what I have, and I know that I have a lot with my kids and my little babies and my friends. I do have a best friend, and she did know some of it, but not all of it. And so I I don't even know where I'm at now. I got sidetracked.
I was gonna say, do you need to take a break?
No, I'm okay.
So you were talking about your kids finding you, and what was the person's role in your survival, um, and how they pumped you with solutions to rehydrate you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
realizing what you have, and that you were actually blessed, and you really didn't want to take your own life.
Yes, because I survived. So after that, something clicked in my head, and I feel like, I don't know if you know about the third eye, but
So that's
yes,
when your whole your whole
yes,
spirit shifted.
yes. My third eye opened. I didn't even know, but I have three daughters and one son, and my son is very spiritual, and he was my rock. And he started sending me readings every day because he knew what I was going through of the Buddha and all this stuff. And he said, "Mom, your third eye opened." And I said, "Oh, okay." And he was like my rock, honestly. He was. So I don't know what I would have done without him. Even though my girls are always there too, it was just my son. So yeah, so I just everything changed. I got out. I said, I'm going to live in my car if I have to. I got the divorce. I left. My daughter actually built me a garage apartment, let me live there. I ended up online, which
That's what
was
my next question was. Let's
okay.
talk about the online relationship and the marriage and how that shaped you.
Yeah, so I was inexperienced because I was so young when I got with that one.
Hmm.
So I was very inexperienced, even though I would hear things from my friends. It wasn't like I experienced it.
Right.
So I was just messing around on my computer, playing games, and I ended up finding this guy, and he was actually in Nigeria, and we started talking, and he was very kind and everything, and we just talked for almost 2 years before I actually went over there to meet him. So my kids didn't like the fact that I did that, but I thought, this is my life. They have their life. I did my job. I raised them. So I thought, okay, this is my time. So I went over there, and we got married, and I went another three different times within a 6 year period, I think 6 or 8 year period. I went four times total, but things didn't work out with him and I. So I never, the last time I went there was about 3 years ago.
Can I ask
And
what happens in the relationship?
I believe it was miscommunication. I'm not going to say anything bad about him because, I feel like I experienced a different kind of love, you
Okay.
know, and I thought that was love, but with each relationship it's different. And I didn't realize because I hadn't had that many because remember I was a teenager,
Right.
so I thought, oh, this is cool, it's men out there are looking at me, and I was always told that I was a fat ugly bitch every day of my life. So when you're told this stuff, you look in the mirror and that's what you see.
Yeah, you tend to believe it.
Yes. So I did believe that, even though someone said I was pretty or something, I just I just looked at him like, oh, really? Okay. I didn't really know how to act to that.
Yeah.
But he was very kind to me every time I went there. He was very kind, but we just didn't work out. So that was over 3 years ago. And then,
So, what did it mean to later meet the love of your life, and how did losing him affect you?
oh God, that was like the major, major, major thing in my life. I met a guy here after I broke up with that one in Nigeria. I met a guy here about 5 months after, and he was somebody that he like worshiped the ground I walked on. I never thought it was possible to ever have that kind of love. This was like true love. Like I experienced true love. And I feel very blessed. And we were together for 2 years. We moved in together. He asked me to marry him. We were going to get married. Um, I have a daughter that lives in Colorado, and she wanted me to come and help her with her boys. And I said, okay. And I didn't realize she booked the flight for 10 days. And his name's Brian. Brian and I had never been apart. We were always together, always. Weekends together, we worked and then we came home, and then we always explored things together. It was a nice, fun relationship, fun, loving relationship. And I didn't know either, but he was sober. He was an alcoholic, but he became sober. Right at the time I met him, he was in a program, just got in a program because he had 3 DUIs. And I did not know about an alcoholic. I'd never been around an alcoholic. And so he was sober for 18 months. And then after he graduated from his program, he took his first drink and he started becoming an alcoholic again. And I did not know. And he would drink every night. And I thought, okay, something's going on here. It's not right. And then when I left, he said, May, don't leave me. And he like cried. And I thought, oh, I said, I'll be back. I said, I'm not leaving forever. And we talked every day, and we missed each other. The day that I was going to go home was on a Friday, November 15 of last year. And we talked that morning, and he said, okay, call me when you get to Arizona, because that was the stop to go back to Tulsa from Colorado. So I called him, but he didn't answer. And I got a call from a doctor. It said, unfortunately, we have your husband here in the ER, and we weren't able to revive him. I said, what? He's dead? And he said, yes.
Did they later say what it was?
I found out the autopsy report only like a month ago. And it was his alcohol level was like 3 times the level of normal alcohol level. And he also had fentanyl. And I don't really know if me being gone 10 days, if something happened, but he never did drugs around me. We never did drugs. Yeah. So I just don't know if he just had a low point. I'll never know. It was a mystery. They found a homeless lady in my home. It was a big story to that one. It was just really messed up. She came into my home and took my shoes and clothes and makeup. And she lied to the police because he was laying on the ground fighting for his life. I think they said he died on the way to the hospital. He passed away on the way to the hospital. But another thing about this that I went through was that I had never met his family. And he said he wanted me to meet his family and all that because he was from another city. And he had one son that was here, but I never even met the baby mama. I never had met her. He would come and spend weekends, or every 5 6 weeks he'd come. He had a bed, but he never kept any clothes, shoes, nothing. It was just he would come when he wanted. He
Right.
was 13 at the time. Well, I think he was 11 when I met him. And so when he passed away, it was a big fight. They wanted to come in my house, take all my stuff. I said, no, this is my stuff.
Right.
They had never been in my house, so why would I let them in my house? They made a big thing about, they tried to get a locksmith to come and open my door. They tried to do all kinds of shit. I don't know. It was a mess for months and months and months. They tried to sue me in court. And so, I finally got rid of all that stuff, the bad energy and all that. It's finally calmed down. They didn't get nothing that they want. He didn't really have nothing. He was a minimalist.
My
Like,
mother-in-law told my kids that if they gave me any ashes, that she would make sure to flush my husband's ashes so I couldn't have any. So I sympathize.
oh wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow. And
Came from
we had talked about death, and I was older than him, so he thought I was going to die before him.
Mhm.
And he said we told each other what we wanted, and he said, "Well, your kids will do that because I do want to be cremated." And he said he did not. He wanted to be buried, but did you know they cremated him? And I never got to see him. The last time I seen him was when he told me bye. When I left that morning.
Yeah.
That was the last time I seen him. But I have lots of things about him, but I knew that I had to move on because he's never coming back.
So how did the grief and depression show up after that? And
A lot.
how'd you cope with it though?
I couldn't cope, but I didn't want to go back to that place where I didn't want to be here. At first, I did want to be here, but if you know about the third eye, you can see things that other people can't. And he was at my bed like 2 days before his actual funeral, which I was not allowed to go to. It was in a different city, and I was not allowed to go. So he was there, and at the foot of my bed, and I said, Brian, I said, come back to me. And he said, I can't. He did talk. And I said, well, I want to go with you. And he said, no. And then he disappeared. And he left me a lot of messages within 3 4 month period. He left me a lot of signs that I knew he was around me. So
I'm sorry. You can keep talking. I have to put you
okay,
on mute for a second.
okay. So anyway, he left the signs around me. And so let's see what else. I finally was crying every morning, every day, all day long. I went to visit my daughter back in Colorado. I would go almost every month and come back, go back, go back, go back. And it did help me. It was kind of therapeutic, but at the same time, I was still crying, and I could not control my crying. So I said, I got to get help. So I called my doctor, and I went to my doctor, and she did prescribe some antidepressant. And finally, it did help. It did help, and I did cope with it. So I'm okay now, and I feel better. Um, I actually had a relationship with one guy, but he's gone too. So I'm single. It's just me now. But I kind of think that I know how to handle certain guys now. But I don't think I'll ever find another Brian. I think he was one in a million. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think anybody will ever love me like he did.
Right.
And
That's hard.
so, yeah. So, that's where I am today. And then I started, after that guy actually broke up with me, this last guy, I went on TikTok. I've been on TikTok. I got on it after Brian passed away in December. I just wanted to express myself, I guess. And so I tried to do that. And then after I was just expressing myself, then
You can
after
keep
this guy was
going.
gone.
I just
What's
need you
that?
to just continue to talk. I'm going to leave the screen for a moment.
Okay. Okay. So after that, then let's see, what did I do? Oh yeah, I got on TikTok, and I seen the live thing, and I had never really been on the live. So I started scrolling around on the lives, and I started meeting people, and some good, some bad. So that's where I'm now. I'm on TikTok, and I see that I like it because I met a lot of really good people, and I feel like I like to surround myself with good people. I don't want that negative energy. I don't think no one does, but I know what that feels like, and I don't want it. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm just here. I live in my little apartment behind my daughter's house that she built for me, and it's really nice. As you can see, it's 2 stories, and I have my nice furniture and all my nice stuff, so I'm happy here. It's a happy place. But I did have to move quickly. you know um I had to throw out a lot of stuff, and that was hard. That was really hard. I had to throw away a bunch of stuff that was his that really wasn't important, but it's just the fact that it was his. I had to throw it out because I didn't have no room for it. I moved back into this little apartment, and it's smaller than where we lived. So I have no contact with any of his people at all. And it's really sad because I wanted to have contact. His son actually said I was a motherfucking bitch and that I killed his dad, but I understand he was mad and upset and all that stuff, but yet it was very disrespectful. So you know um he was taken care of by Brian, with insurance money, and he's getting social security, all that stuff. Brian didn't leave me
Sorry about that.
anything. I just got bills. But luckily, my kids helped me a lot, and they helped me take care of business. And I don't know what I would have done without my 4 kids. They all helped me.
So, was there a specific moment you knew something had spiritually changed within you?
Yes.
Okay.
I knew that I started eating differently. I became a vegetarian.
Okay.
I just all of a sudden I started not drinking anything with sugar in it, and I actually started on a keto diet, and it just felt so good that I felt like, okay, I don't want to put this ugly stuff in my body no more. I started going to the gym. It was like my body was my temple, that. And
Yeah.
so I do it, and I'm not, I've had a couple of surgeries in the past couple of years. The last one was in the end of April. But I'm good, and I'm back in the gym, but not as much as I want to. But my eating habits are still the same. I'm still vegetarian. I still don't drink sugar. I don't drink any soda, nothing like that. I just feel like I want to live to be 100 and look like this. You know, I feel like life is beautiful, and I'm happy. I don't want anything to drag me down, whether it was that last guy that I was with. No, he can go, you know? So,
How did therapy and antidepressants support or complicate that awakening inside of you?
um, I'm really strict about taking any kind of pills, even with my surgeries. I didn't want to take the pain pills, but I knew I had to because when they cut your body, it hurts. They give you 2 weeks of them, and then after that, I have a withdrawal. But I don't do it no more after that. That's it. And so I think that my mind became very strong. I think I have a strong mind. That's like a muscle, I feel like, in your body that you have to grow that muscle. And
Right.
I feel like my mind became really strong. And I have a lot of knowledge. I have a college degree.
Okay.
Um, Even though I might sound ditzy a lot of times, a lot of people they don't think I'm who I am.
Right.
Um, but what was the other question?
It was, how did therapy or antidepressants support or complicate your awakening?
I think the therapy was so slow, but looking back on it, all of it together helped me. I just don't know what I would say for someone else to do. They have to do it their own way because no one helped me. I just did it myself. And I think for me, I wished it would have been faster. You know, it was 20 years. So that's a long, long time for somebody to just be in the, abyss or wherever you want to be. It was kind of like I was nowhere, doing nothing. And I lost that part of my life. And so now, I didn't even want to go on antidepressants now. And my doctor knew that because she knows me well. But she gave me one that wasn't addictive. And I do have anxieties really bad still, but I'm not taking anything for that. I have a medical card and that's pretty much it. Other than this antidepressant that I'm taking. And I'm thinking in September I might try and get off of it, but I don't know if I'll start crying again. So that kind of worries me. But I think I'll be okay.
I'm sure you'll
'Cause
be okay.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because I do want to live. I have things to live for.
So, what did you see more clearly in your life as your third eye opened?
Um, I seen the world in a different way. I seen my surroundings differently. I felt things that I never felt before. My emotions were very strong. I became very sensitive. I became it was like electricity coming through your body. It
Yeah,
was like wow, look at the sky. I never. Seen it this way.
yeah,
Um Look at people. People are beautiful. I just love people. I do. I think humans are just I'm a Catholic, religiously,
yeah,
but I will tell you that when I became spiritual, the religious part came down and the spiritual part came up
yeah,
because I do know that God is spirit and that's my God.
yeah.
And I still am religious, but it's more spiritual. It's more like it's really hard to explain. Your third eye is so open that you just look around and everything you can see, you can, I don't know, you just look at everything, food, you know, um, anything you look
It's
at and
more
you wonder,
clear.
yeah,
Everything
yeah,
becomes more clear and more bright.
more clear and bright. Yes. And
Yeah,
it's hard to explain to someone that doesn't experience that, you know.
absolutely.
So it's hard to talk about the third eye. A lot of people don't even know about it.
Right.
It's really, really rare that people I can talk and I can even on TikTok. I haven't found a one person that was a vegetarian.
No, I'm not a vegetarian, but I know what third eye is.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so, what does your life look like for you now?
Now my life is happy. I have friends that I like. Today I went to happy hour. Um, I have my kids and I go with my daughters. Places we do happy hour too with my daughters. They're adults, so we're on that adult level.
Right.
And they think they have a fun mom, and I'm happy for that. I go with my son places. My daughter in Colorado, we've experienced a lot of stuff together. I'm very close with my kids. They're my life.
Yeah.
And my babies too. I have 5 little babies, and they love me to death. They're all boys and one girl. And my girl every night calls me to tell me good night. Every night.
'Cause that's the greatest feeling, isn't it? I think we
Oh
should have
my
all been
God.
grandparents before we were
Oh my
parents.
God. Yes.
We
She
have
is
so much
she's
more patience.
she's a mini me.
Mm,
She is a mini me. It's so funny because she'll talk one subject to the next. And I'll sit there and listen to her because I understand. Because my friends would tell me, May, that's enough. And I'd say, okay, just talk, talk, talk. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. So anyway, she's that way.
that's awesome. What brings you peace and joy? What brings you peace, laughter, and joy in this chapter of life?
Peace, laughter, and joy is knowing that my kids are always there. My babies are always there. My friends are always there. That's my peace. That's my peace knowing that I've even made friends here on TikTok that I feel like I could probably call and talk to them anytime I wanted. There's a handful of them for sure. And I feel like the support brings me peace. My coming home to my own safe place, not being in fear. Because when I moved out on my own, I'd never been on my own, you know?
Right.
And so that's my little place here is my peace.
So, what has made you softer Okay, what have you survived that has made you softer or harder?
Okay, so I am softer. I used to have very bad anger issues when I was with that one. I was never heard. I actually felt like I was never heard at all. Anytime I had anything to say, someone would walk out. So I had very bad anger issues that I had to deal with myself, like really bad. And now I am at peace. You know, I'm ready to go, but I don't want to go.
Right.
If you can understand that one.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Right, right, right. So I felt like I've planted my seeds. I teach my babies every day. Even my little guy that's 6 years old, he wanted to know about the third eye. And did you know your third eye can open at any age?
Yes.
He, after we discussed it, it was like a week later, and all of a sudden, he would not drink soda pop anymore. He only drinks water. He looks at the labels and says, Mimi, does this have sugar in it?
Oh,
And he's 6 years old,
yeah.
and he did this on his own. I
That's
said, Valentine, your third eye opened. He said, what?
good. So, if your younger self could see you now, what would she say?
She would say, you are so awesome. You have been through so much, and you survived.
Okay. That's it?
Yes.
Okay. What message do you want to give others who may still be in their darkest chapter?
That it will get better. It will. You need to go deep inside yourself and know. I think it takes a strong mind. And when you're in that deep, dark place, you don't have a strong mind. You know, that's why
Right.
you want to go, because you don't see it any other way. So I feel like we can't we can't dictate when we go and when we don't. Our time is what God says. If
Yeah.
it would have been my time, I mean, I've had so many. I'm sure a lot of people have, at my age and everything. Everybody's had times that I've about died several times. I flatlined. I've done all of that. So I think that if any, I always wanted to start a women's group that I go to this thing that's called Little Black Dress, and it supports abused women. And we go once a year and have a big festival, and where women can tell their story or whatever. But it's really nice. I never told my story there, but this is actually the first time I've ever went from zero to now.
How does it feel?
I mean, it feels empowering.
Awesome.
You know, I'm proud to be a woman. I always tell everyone I'm a lady. You know, um, I think it's good to be a lady. I try to teach my little girl. I taught my girls to be ladies. Don't do what everyone else does just for
Right.
attention.
Right.
Be a lady and be proper, and
So, how do you think that we could remind others and ourselves that it's okay to start over?
to know that your life's not over. You know, I will tell you, it was very hard. I started from zero. I mean, I left my kids' photos. I had lived in this house all my life since I was 21. And that was so hard for me. I started from zero.
Yeah.
I left everything and just went out. But it felt good because I have the memories in my head.
Yeah.
You know, I still have the memories. So if someone is worried about the tangible things, don't worry about that. Take care of yourself. That's the most important thing, is yourself.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And one last question. What does it mean to stay rare to you?
Stay rare. Don't follow others. Be your own self, no matter what.
Okay. And I want to thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank everybody that came. I didn't read any of the comments.
Okay. We're going to do questions after this.
Okay.
We're going to do our closing, and then I'm going to do some resources. Sorry, I had that puzzle piece. You just heard the story of a warrior woman, a survivor, a mother, a healer, and a soul who refused to let darkness define her. She was raised from the shadows of silence, carried the weight of a family not yet free, and bore scars from love and hurt more than it healed. And yet she rose again and again. Not because it was easy, but because somewhere inside, even the numbness, she knew her story wasn't finished. Her voice is living proof that healing isn't destination. It's a decision, a choice we make every single day to keep going and to keep growing, to keep believing that we are worthy of more than what we have endured. If you're listening right now and carrying your own pain, let this episode wrap around you like a whisper from the universe. You are not alone, you are not broken, and you are becoming. Maybe your awakening hasn't come yet, or maybe it isn't already stirring quietly inside of you. Either way, know this: your voice matters, your story matters, and when you speak your truth, you don't just free yourselves. Your light is the way for someone else still stuck in the dark. Thank you for being here with us on The Power of One Voice. Please share this story with someone who needs it. Subscribe, leave a review, and most of all, never forget the power that lives inside your voice. Until next time, stay grounded, stay brave, and stay rare. I do have some resources. The National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. The Substance Abuse Hotline at 1-800-662-HELP. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988. Therapy resources at www.psychologytoday.com. Grief support, www.griefshare.org. And Women's Support Network at www.latinasled.org. And with that being said,
Mama, can I bring this with me?
okay, if anybody has any questions, now's the time to ask your questions.
There's my tat. It's a semicolon, which means life goes on.
That's right. I know somebody had a question earlier. It said something about family earlier. Where did it go? I seen it. I should have written it down. I think they asked how you were with family now.
Oh, now? So my outside family is toxic, and I had to remove myself from all of them. I only have one sister that I'm close to. The rest of my mom and dad are both gone. My siblings are toxic people. I couldn't do that.
Does anybody have any questions in the chat? Oh, did you marry him